Hey everybody, today we're talking about The Hood, the saga of Parker Robbins. Hey everybody, welcome back to BK's Bullets. As always, I'm your host, Brent and today we're talking about The Hood. This is the newer trade paperback called the Saga of Parker Robbins. Saga, the hummus brand. Anyway, this collects the original miniseries The Hood, which is called The Hood 1 through 6, or sometimes in here it's referred to Blood from Stones, but there was an earlier trade paperback of that name, so that's why they're referencing it that way. Also, the Dark Reign, The Hood miniseries 1 through 5, and then a short story from Dark Reign, the Cabal special. So I picked this up, what was it, late last year or something like that? I know I did an overview on the channel, but I had never read any of these stories before. I had only read his appearances in the New Avengers run from Brian Michael Bendis, so all this stuff is from 2002, 2007, 2008, so, over 10 years ago at this point. But, I picked it up because I've never read it, and, The Hood was appearing in Ironheart, so maybe I wanted to read a little bit of that. The other reason I picked it up is because this has artwork by Cal Hotz in both miniseries, except for the Cabal special has stuff from Max Fiumara, and his stuff is pretty neat too. His stuff reminds me of Billy Tan, honestly, but Cal Hotz in here is doing both of the majority of the work here, doing both miniseries, and his stuff is really interesting, just in terms of style. It's angular but moody in a way that sometimes angular artists aren't. I would say this is more like what you would want to see out of Ryan Ottley if he were doing Batman. I think that's a really good comparison. With as much blacky inkness there is, I think they're pretty similar in terms of angularness and the way they draw things, but Kyle Hotz definitely knows how to use shadow, or at least has to use more shadow than Ryan Ottley has had to use on all of his Invincible work, his Hulk run, and Spider-Man. But it's really, really good stuff. The miniseries are written by two different people. The first one is written by Brian K. Vaughan, so this was created by him and Kyle Hotz back in 2001, 2002. And then you have Jeff Parker doing the Dark Reign, The Hood miniseries. And both of them, I couldn't really tell a difference in tone. The Brian K. Vaughan stuff is much more of a self-contained storyline. Like, I don't know if this was ever meant to go anywhere other than after Bendis said, hey, you know what? I like that miniseries. I want to use that guy. Because that's the kind of the feeling I get here. There's some references to other Marvel heroes in this first miniseries, but it's pretty self-contained. And this first miniseries of The Hood was a Marvel Max line title. So they have curse words in it. There's the implication of sex, but I don't think there's no nudity, but there is violence, kind of increased violence, things like that you normally don't see in a regular Marvel book. When you get to the Dark Reign stuff, of course, that's in the mainline Marvel universe, so that's more of a parental advisory type title as opposed to a explicit content title. But this does carry the explicit content warning on the back because of that first miniseries. But honestly, I like both of them. I think him finding the Hood and getting his powers out was interesting. He comes across it on an accident and just picks it up because he thinks he's looting this dead body, and then discovers it has powers. Like, he can fly, he can turn invisible. And it's only until later issues that he discovers it has a sinister connection to the Marvel Universe demon Dormammu, right? And then the second miniseries with the Dark Reign stuff is where that's really kind of explored more. You have Satana making an appearance here in the later half of that miniseries and kind of explaining the connection to Dormammu, and the Hood is slowly being influenced by this, flaming head, basically, that we all know from the Doctor Strange movie, and just kind of how that power is influencing and corrupting him as he tries to stay a good person, even though we all know he's not. The one difference I did tell about from reading this book compared to my recollection of the Avengers stuff he was in with New Avengers is that in here he's trying a lot harder to maintain that he's a good person, whereas I don't remember him doing that at all in the New Avengers stuff. Or maybe that was just him acting tough and we only saw one side of him, and this has the stuff where he has a girlfriend or wife and a child, and he's like, trying to justify his actions to them and himself that he's not such a bad guy. He's only doing this for them. Meanwhile, he's ripping people off. He's killing, people are dying on the streets and things like that. His gang is doing bad things, the whole kit and caboodle. But all in all, I think this was a pretty interesting read. 11 issues with that little interlude from the Cabal special. So 11 and a half, we'll call it. I think it was over 10 pages. But not bad, not bad. It is a little pricey, $35, a little pricey. But it's on pretty nice paper. It's kind of this matte satin finish. It's not glossy or anything like that, but it reads well. All the colors are really, really good on it. I have no complaints. Sometimes you read these little side miniseries from Marvel because they have, a lot lesser known main villain characters, I would say, than DC. Their villains to me are not that interesting. This is one of the ones that was interesting. So if they can pump more of these out, I feel like we'd be in a better spot. I know the Kang miniseries from 2 years ago was really good. I have that trade paperback to read also and review for the channel. So that's another good one. The most recent Kang miniseries. But honestly, if you see this on the shelf, I think it's worth checking out. Open it up, see if you like the art style. I think the stories in here are really interesting, especially if you love the Bendis Dark Avengers stuff and Siege and Dark Reign and all that stuff. The second miniseries does play into that a little bit. It's mostly self-contained, other than the one meeting he has with Emma Frost and Norman Osborn and Doom. That's the only thing that really ties into anything else. Most of it is him having a gang, getting into trouble with this other character called Force, and I don't know if Force is a main Marvel Universe character or not. I don't remember seeing him at all before this. But anyway, it's mostly, that second miniseries is mostly self-contained. So if you've never read the New Avengers stuff, I think you'll be okay if you pick this up first because you want to read it. You don't have to go and read all of New Avengers or Dark Reign or anything like that to understand it. There is a little pretext text page before the Dark Reign special where they say hey, here's what's happened. This is all you need to know going forward, and that's very, very true. So I really like this. Brian K. Vaughan, Jeff Parker doing some great work. Kyle Hotz killing it on art. I'm very surprised how much I like this. So if you see it on the shelf, go check it out. Maybe you'll like it too. Let me know what you thought of this book down below in the comments, and we'll see you guys next time in the Funny Pages.